My nickname is Shantji, and I know Vera for last at least 20 years, I think.
28, 29
28. Okay. So we have been quite buddy, but in an interesting way, up and down. And because she also made of fire and I am also made of fire, so sometimes, but divine grace brings us together. Like she showed up, I was talking to him, that somehow mysteriously Vera will get to know. I did not expect she will be so graceful to come to bless me and all of us. And to me it is very moving. I am very emotional. So,
nice.
And then he is my friend and student. His name is Adam Rasuman. And I met him some time back. He will tell his own story. And then she is Elyse Gold, Vera's old friend, my old friend. So I would request first to start, maybe Elyse will sit there, so it will go by one. And you can sit there. Yes, now she will. Yes. So first I would like him to share his journey in a sweet, friendly manner. And then Elyse will share her journey. Then Vera will share, or she will share after you are done, as she feels comfortable. Then I will share, and then we will have some ginger cookies or whatever. So thank you for your presence, and thank you, Vera, for gracing with your sweet friends. I am very deeply moved. Sometimes I get overly moved. I may cry without knowing. Either maybe it is old age, I never was like that. But it doesn't matter, I am shameless. So now I would request Adam to share his story, at least 10 minutes each of us. If you are comfortable, you can go for 20. If you are not comfortable, you can finish in 2 minutes. You are too much cut off. Can you take this seat?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, take this seat so that...
I can just come closer. Sit right here.
Sit here.
No, this is fine. This is fine.
Okay, then you move to this seat. You are too close to each other. Come on. You take this seat.
I will take that seat.
Yeah, so that this looks nice. Yeah, you can take this seat there. Thank you.
Do we have to...
Yeah, you can sit there. Yes, you can take that seat.
Okay, I'm fine.
Because it is nowadays, whatever we videotape, nobody knows how many people were there. So if everything is presented nicely, sweetly, it creates our own impression, and Facebook has thousands of nowadays listeners and viewers. So it is not only for 6 of us, but many more. So let her attend her phone, and then turn off after attending that. And then I will request my friend and student to share his story, and from my side, home.
Well, I met Shantji at the Rainbow Gathering last year. I was on my way to find some place where I could do some contemplating and some spiritual discipline and meditation. I was on my way to a more structured, fancier retreat center, and I ended up going to the National Rainbow Gathering in Georgia, and that's where I met Shantji. Right away he impressed me with his presence and kindness and humbleness and goofiness. And he invited me back to stay at his ashram. And since then, I've learned a lot of. I've always had a lot of compassion and humbleness and kindness and selflessness from years of practicing meditation and very in tune with the Bible and Jesus's teachings, and even Buddhism and Muslim practices of all the religions. They all come together, and from him, what struck me the most about him was, well, his first rule was to be 100% truthfulness, and I kind of understood on a subtler level, if you can understand the truth, then you have it all made. But to be able to practice that, it takes courage. So his second rule is to be fearless. And that never really, for some reason, never really clicked or came to me in my meditation and my spiritual pursuit. So by seeing him and living with an example, I've been able to post on Facebook and start writing and sort of come out of my shell and be expressive and add friends and just have built a lot of self-confidence by following his example of fearlessness and honesty and truthfulness. And we've went on many adventures together. I've seen some very spiritual places and met a lot of his really dear friends, and it's just really a blessing, and I'm honored to be able to serve and for him to help me bring about my full potential. And it's just an honor, and I'm thankful for all you guys to be here. And just recently we had a new addition to the ashram, Elyse Gold, and she was a professor and a counselor at a prestigious university, and she's staying with us now. And Shantji said it's because of my grace and charm that she's able to come here and help out and continue more with spiritual work and dedication to a higher source. And that's about all I have for now to share. So here's Elyse. Oh.
Thank you.
So my story is that for some reason, even as a little girl, I remember that I was very, very happy that I was alive, that being on this planet and getting to experience life seemed very special to me. But I didn't like the part that it was finite, that you live a certain length of time and then it's over. I thought, well, what kind of deal is this? I mean, you're given this great gift but it's temporary. And something about that disturbed me when I was really very tiny. And I said to my mom, what's the story? Can you fix this? And she really didn't have an answer. She said, don't worry, and watch TV and play and have fun, and it'll be okay. But I never felt satisfied somehow. I felt like there has to be a better answer or a deeper answer. And then, life moves on, and I went to school and college and studied psychology, and in psychology they try to answer some of the more deeper questions about who we are and all that, but still I didn't really feel very satisfied. And then in graduate school, this Swami, a yogi, came to speak, and he explained that there's two aspects to our being, that yes, there's this body and that's finite, but there's much more to it, and that there's the soul within you is the part that's immortal, and that part didn't come from anywhere, and it's not going anywhere, and it's always there, and you really don't have to worry. You've already, that immortality can never die. Nothing ever can really leave. And somehow I finally felt some form of comfort and decided that yoga was something that I would really pursue, because there lied to me the deeper answers. And I studied some in Missouri, where I was living for graduate school, and then my husband got a job in Pennsylvania, and we moved to Pennsylvania. And I found a place called the Himalayan Institute, where I started to go on a regular basis for studying yoga much deeper. And I learned a tremendous amount, and they taught us how to meditate and how to do the yoga practices and the exercises and the meditation and all that. And I really felt like I was accessing a much deeper truth of existence. And I felt like I was understanding that there's a much more profound thing going on here, then it really appears. There's a profound level of consciousness that you can start to access when you really go inward. And still, though, there was some piece of it missing. There was something still that I didn't feel complete fulfillment. And then I heard that there was another Swami that was coming around local that I could go to a friend's house and hear him speak, and that was Swami Shantanand. And I went there and heard him speak and listened to what he had to say. And something very profound happened then, because something he conveyed was remarkable to me, which was he was saying that it's not just about advanced practice, advanced practice, advanced practice. There's something that any being can access if they can catch the deeper mystery of existence. Because up until then, I kept believing that there's something advanced that nobody's really telling me, and that I have to earn that. And he was saying something different, that it's right there, and there's just it's a mystery that you can unravel. And if I was able to unravel it and find a deeper truth, you can do it too. And somehow that really moved me, and it was through his teaching that I really did have a profound understanding of how consciousness functions through each individual, and how we are each just a channel for that consciousness to run its course through your being, however that happens to be. And it really profoundly and tremendously changed my life. And the other thing that really moved me about him was that he discovered it on his own. It wasn't that anybody really explained it in the form that he realized it. It was somehow like a self-realization after a deep probing, and he had lived in a cave for a couple of years and really probed inwardly and came up with that deeper understanding. So it made a profound impact on my life, and I've known him for 35 years and have enjoyed every moment of it. And whenever he's around, life is very exciting, and he teaches us all, like Adam said, to be fearless and truthful, and to understand yourself on a deeper level. And it's just been quite amazing.
Wonderful, thank you. Thank you.
Now you can share your story, then she can say that. I will share my story. That's it. Very sweet, Elyse.
So I'm very, very grateful to be here and to meet you, because I was reading your book and found that very interesting. And I've been studying with Jesus for 30 years.
Wow.
I was a mother of 3 sons, and my middle son came home from college smoking marijuana, and at that time I believed that marijuana was like heroin. And I truly made him so guilty and brought my whole family together to make him guilty.
Oh, what
and
is doing?
He started going, we insisted that he go to the doctors, and he started taking all these prescription drugs and so forth, and committed suicide.
What?
And soon after that, I met this man who wrote the major book on cannabis, and found out that everything I told my children was wrong. And so I've been an activist for cannabis for 30 years. And soon after I lost my son, I started going to this metaphysical bookstore, because I was raised Catholic, but I lost faith in the Catholic faith because it seemed that they just wanted money. And so going to the metaphysical bookstore, I met many people who were studying A Course in Miracles. And I knew I needed a miracle desperately, because I was so sad about my son. But I started studying A Course in Miracles, and then I kept getting this inner message that I had to have a spiritual reading. And I didn't believe in spiritual readings. I thought that, you know, like people do this for money. But I kept getting the message, and I asked, and I went to a place called Camp Chesterfield that everyone there was a minister, and the ministers lived on the property. And so the first thing, this older man with a crystal ball just looked at me. I didn't say I lost my son, nothing. And the first thing he said was, Frank, which was my son's name, Frank is so happy, and he just wants you to be happy. And it was as if all the pain in my body just left. And I realized that that was true. And I was able to get over my grieving and to know he really is very happy and we are eternal. And I believe in a way it almost was a spiritual setup for me to wake up. And so from studying with Jesus, I'm now 85.
85?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I feel fabulous.
Wow.
And very happy because I know that every encounter is a holy encounter.
Wow.
Every encounter.
Wow.
And so it's a joy to be alive and to meet people and to want to connect to them in a loving way. And I seem to be able to do it extremely easy. I don't have to do a lot of work to do it. But as a young person, I did not read or write until I was close to like 16. But I always got along with all the young people. And now I'm an avid reader. I mean, I just love to read spiritual books, and I feel very blessed. And so meeting you all is just another divine acquaintance. It's exciting, very exciting to be alive and be 85 and see all these miracles happening. Thank you. Vera has been so good to me, and Betsy. I mean, I am blessed constantly by kindness. Truly. It's so exciting. I always cry when I'm happy.
Right.
Only I can't cry when I'm sad for some reason. Yeah. Betsy, it's your turn.
No, I'm not doing.
Okay, there it goes.
So as far as my spiritual journey, I would say started when I was a young child, and I was always wondering what was true, what was happening in this world and in any other worlds. So I went to church with my family, learned what I could in the Eastern Orthodox Church, but it still wasn't satisfying enough. And then as I entered into my early teens, I would say junior high school, on the way to school, I would pass different churches. And then I would stop in churches and then visit them. So I would sit after school, I would go into, let's say, the Catholic Church. Nobody was there. I would just sit in the quiet. It was very peaceful. In those days, everything was open. Like now they have locks on all the churches. So kind of sad for me. Like the church I go to in Binghamton, New York, they have a code, all security, and then you press the numbers. 4 numbers for the code, and the door opens. So I have a code, certain people can have the code. But in those days when I was a child, and then also in junior high, I just could walk in anywhere. And I felt safe. And I was just telling some people about it. I said, I felt safe. I didn't feel like someone would hurt me. I didn't feel like someone would attack me or kidnap me. And even when I was in elementary school, I would walk around the block after I finished with school. I would look around and examine things, talk to people, and I felt very relaxed and safe. And I know my parents, I didn't tell my parents, because my parents had this attitude. Usually already I started to notice they're very fearful. And my father used to teach us all the time, don't trust anybody. There's danger out there. Because they came from Europe and they went through World War II and survived World War II. So they saw all kinds of scary things. So when they came to America, they were like very careful with us. So whenever I did something, I always had to do it without their knowledge. So if I never told them I went into other churches, or I walked around the block, or that I talked to strangers. I couldn't say that. So I remember then going to other churches in high school on my way, and one of them was Mary Baker Eddy, I believe was one, Christian Science, and then Jehovah's Witnesses, and Seventh-day Adventists.
Wow.
And visited them and studied with them. They would welcome me, and I would go always by myself. There was nobody else I actually commiserated with.
And how old are you that time?
At that point, I would say I'm in high school, so like starting 9th grade, 10th grade. So, and I would just be on my own. I was mostly a loner. So I would just go in, and they would give me all these books, and they were very exciting about the Bible, because they really didn't teach me the Bible in my father's church. I don't remember that. So they would go in depth. They would just go verse by verse, book by book, and discuss it, and then go into different languages. They would try to, explore other languages, and then all their concepts, and I found that super exciting. And then eventually learned about another church. It was my sister. She was attending junior high, and she said her teacher was very spiritual. And he was going to this other type of church. And basically these are churches that are kind of not mainstream. So he was also sort of in a fringe type of church. It was called the Worldwide Church of God. And he was talking Bible to the kids after school. And she was very interested and told me about it, and then I got into that Bible study. So at that point, I still might have been like 10th grade, because I'm about 2 years older than this sister. So I studied, and I was so excited about it, and then I started to visit the church, and I started to get involved more and more until I got less interested in the church I grew up in. And then when eventually my father found out. See, I try not to tell my parents too much, So eventually my father found out that we were actually attending this other church. And this other church was on Saturdays. So it was different than our family church is Sunday. So I was able to go Saturday. And then he found out, and I think at that point I was 17 or 18. And he got furious. And he knew I had all these books. I had commentaries and Bible commentaries and dictionaries and other translations. I was like, really into it. And he got so upset. He felt like, because it's like a betrayal of his culture. The religion and culture are together. So for me to go to something else, you are like betraying your parents, your father, your whole ancestry. So he said, and you took your sister, no less, your sister who's younger than you, you took your sister, oh my God. He was furious. And he said to me, something is keeping me from killing you.
Wow.
He wanted to kill me.
Huh?
He wanted to literally kill me.
Really?
That's what he said to me. He goes, but something is keeping me. So I felt, because I was very spiritually oriented, I said, God must be keeping him from getting me killed.
Did you ask him why?
No, you can't ask him anything. He's like this bundle of rage and intensity. So, and then he said, then he called the police.
Called the police?
He actually called the police. He took one of my books, my commentary books, and he ripped it in half in front of me. And just broke it, like tore it in half, and then threw it on the ground. And then he said to me, I'm calling the police, I want you out of here. I can't bear to have you in the house. So 2 policemen came, 2 big guys, you know, and he told them, they said, what's the problem, you know, what does she do? And he said, well, she's reading, and she's reading all these books, and she's going to another church, and she took her sister, and I want her out of the house. So they looked at me, and they said, well, that's not considered a crime. We can't charge her with anything. So the one policeman, he was really sweet, he came over to me, and he says to me, just whispered, like, he says, listen, I went through something similar when I was young like you. And he said, believe me, you think it's so important to believe what you're believing, but you'll change. Your ideas will change. What you think is truth right now, it'll change as you get older. Things will change. So he was, you know, very sweet of him to say that. And they said, listen, I'm sorry, we can't do anything. This is your daughter. We talked to her. We have to leave. So they left. So he was stuck with me. And eventually, then I got married in the new church when I was, I guess, 19. And eventually, you know, I kept studying.
Did he come to the wedding?
Oh yeah, he did come to the wedding. He threatened not to come to the wedding. He was very upset because also the person I was marrying was 13 years older than me. And he said to me, this is too old. He said, you'll by the time he gets older and older, you're going to have this old husband. You'll have to take care of him. And he said, he wants me to wear a black dress. He said, you don't even deserve to be in a white dress. You should be in a black dress. Because for me, this is like death. My father's very dramatic. So then he did come to the wedding. First he said, I'm not coming to the wedding. But then he did come to the wedding, and I wore a white dress. So, and then eventually, like in my 20s, and then I started to come out of Christianity. I started to move. First I learned, though, I did learn something. That was the main teaching of Shantji. While I was going into this other depth of teaching and understanding in Christianity, eventually my husband and I both learned that there's no free will. They say,
wow, your husband also?
yeah.
Huh.
We started reading these books from other Christians, and there's another translation of the Bible, and it said, you know, there's really no free will. There's only God's will. There's only one will. And that will permeates everything. That will inspires everything. That will is within all things, including us. So we are just responding. This form, whatever we think this form is responding to the one will. And that made sense to me and to him. I said, yeah, that sounds great. And they also said, and God is completely love, and there's no hell, there's no reason to punish people, no reason to have these horrible things that other Christians teach. And that made sense. We said, yeah, that makes sense. That sounds nice. I'll accept that. And so we stayed with that for a few years, and it felt good. And then eventually I started to study. I met some ashrams in my area in Pennsylvania, and I went to them and studied some yoga and some of the Hindu religion, and I liked it also, and I got into that, and I sort of blended everything. Everything became a blend. So, like if somebody asks me what I am now, I say, depends who I'm with, but I'm everything. I just said that recently. They asked me, I said, I'm everything. I'm universal. I am the universe, everything. So it was wonderful. And then when I met Shantji, he was preaching about the same thing, that there's no free will. I said, oh yeah, that's no problem. I know that for years now. Yeah, we heard it and we just accepted it right away. It made sense. And he was teaching it from his background. It wasn't actually a Christian background, but it all sounded the same. And so I got deeper into that, and eventually it just gets deeper and deeper. And then eventually I was exposed to, like Carole, the Course in Miracles. And that was pretty quick. I was exposed to that in Pennsylvania, so about 28 years ago. And I liked that also. I got into that, and that seemed comfortable and right, and showing the expansiveness of the universe and of the one consciousness, that that is all there is. And even this is just a channel or a dream and not even real. And now I'm studying all the non-duality type of things that go, I think, even deeper into it. And I was trying to share it with my Course in Miracles people, but it's like, this personality does not exist. This is just a personality. It's made up. It's part of a dream. There's only this eternal essence, this eternal spirit, and that is in all of us and everywhere, in everything. So there's nothing to worry about. There's nothing's going to happen to it. It cannot die. It cannot get sick, this essence, this presence. And just this body is playing out all kinds of roles. And it just keeps doing that. And why it does it, I don't know. Whether it's for some kind of drama for the universe, some kind of a play. And it's just a deepening of that everything is connected. We're all one. There is only one, which I find very interesting. It makes me laugh a little bit too. There's only one. And a million fractures, billions of fractures of all these other facets that think they are individuals and think they're separate. So it's exciting to know that. So when you know that, you can just connect on a very ethereal, sort of spiritual, energetic level, and know that we're always connected, no matter what happens. Even if we yell at each other or curse each other, there's that connection, always, unbroken, for all eternity. And there is no time even. It's endless. Oh.
Yay!
The battery.
Totally ready.
I love your use of word.
I can see it.
You may all join me in oming, but remember, if possible, keep on breathing and let the oming sound be constant. When one is breathing, others are continuing. We will do for a couple of minutes. And the interesting thing is, when we chant in an unbroken string, then as our sound merges in collective sound, we get a glimpse. Like that, our individual consciousness merges in cosmic consciousness. So, let us chant. I am remembering many years back, I was once in Bombay and I was walking by the ocean and I saw somehow a small temple and I was attracted, so I went inside and I asked the minister there, "Can I speak here?" He said, "Of course you can speak here if you are willing to speak to the ocean. I don't know how many people we will get, I will get." I said, "Okay, that's fine." So when I went to speak, I remember that there were only two persons who came to listen to me. Either one was the priest or minister priest, he was not, whatever you consider, the person who was taking care of the temple, and one or two persons, I don't remember two or one. But what is most remarkable, the way I spoke, I was utterly thrilled and moved, as if I was moved and thrilled with my own words, with my own energy, with my own connection, with my own high. I still remember. So seeing you, I mean, we came three and you came three, reminded me of that. So what I mean to convey through this story, it is not how many people participate in an event. It is only the fact how deeply you reach the deepest core of your being. Whenever that happens, for whatever reason that happens, it literally sets you free. And the interesting thing is, even when you are free for a few moments or hours or days or months, or even sometimes years, our tendencies that we have accumulated from many, many lifetimes somehow suddenly cover up, as if sun has been shining and deep, deep dark clouds come and cover up the sun. And if a little boy or girl who is not quite convinced, they are quite aware that sun will shine again sooner or later, he or she may get a little scared, my God, I lost the sun. But those who know the sun, they know, no matter how overwhelming or dark or ugly the cloud is, it is going to. And then how this event that we are meeting today took place, I was requesting Vera for a long, I think, time to help me to get Elyse out of that place where she was. She did help in her own way, but she was also not sure what to do, how to do. And I was willing to very much spend money for that purpose. And somehow, mysteriously, though I had faith because I come from that orthodox tradition, that if you surrender to God and keep on praying, keep on praying, keep on praying, then unless there is a very strong reason, your prayers somehow get fulfilled to whatever degree they get fulfilled. And this guy showed up. I don't know how he happened to visit with me, Elyse. And he has a very unique, powerful kind of magnetic power. And that is, whomever he meets, he disarms him or her with his sweetness, humbleness, kindness, and serving attitude. It is like you feel surprised. Why is he happy in serving me? And then you wonder, he is not happy only in serving me, he is happy in serving any time Dick and Harry. So you get more rather overwhelmed. Because you know your own life, you are not inclined to serve more than whom you are attached to. So, when he was exposed to her, I could see there was some movement in Elyse's consciousness. I don't remember then how. I kept on begging or nudging, but she was not willing to move in, or she was not open to give in. And somehow he came into the picture and he presented the case, or he convinced her what kind of service he can offer to her. And he is quite, I don't know what is the word for that, shamelessness is not the right word, quite egoless. He is willing to be slave of slaves, not for only me, for all of us, whoever is in front of him. If he or she needs help from him, so be it. It is like his great joy. So here I was for many, many years hoping and even planning and praying. I had big kind of place, 40 acres, and I am not able to draw those people, and those whom I draw, my personality is so hopeless that they get more hurt and annoyed and angry, and they almost reject me. And here this person somehow was willing to not only go many times to convince Elyse, charm Elyse with all the goodies, whatever he could take with what he cooks very well. So he might, first a few times he took paratha is a Hindu dish, and all that, and she was eating with quite, I could see from her face, she was enjoying. So somehow she ended up coming. And not only coming, he ended up convincing her in her own way. I don't know how it all unfolded. She ended up completely uprooting herself from that place, completely. Now that was kind of miracle to me. I told him yesterday, or day before yesterday, that I would have spent $1,000 to get her out from that place. I might have proposed to Vera. And Vera told me the legal situation to whatever extent she knew, and here now she is all free. So now I thought what to do to celebrate this occasion. So I thought, because I know very well. I used to tell, even in India and here in this country, I never met a woman. Not a woman, any man whom I could say was smarter than her. So I thought, my God, because she wrote 2 books with me and she was editing, and I could see what I could not say. She was able to say if she knew what I wanted to convey. And still today, yesterday I wrote some letter to Prime Minister of India and all that. I dictated something. Now, I wrote a letter to Jaggi Vasudev. They returned my $600, $200. For some reason they did not refund. So I told her, write this letter. I feel hurt, pain. They have the millions or billions of dollars, and I have thousands of dollars too. But it leaves the sour taste when you think and remember that that organization did not refund in full what they should have returned. So after writing all that letter, at some point I wrote that, Sadhguru, I would like to meet with you, and I have heard and seen your monumental work, and I am very impressed with your intelligence. And then I also gave her impression that I would bow down to him or whatever, but I am not that kind of person who really does that. If I don't feel like bowing, then I will not bow. I can bow to you, I can give you massage, I can do dishes, but if I feel no, then it is no. So I said something in such a way, but she presented in such a way today, when I read that, I was, oh my God, she can still do miraculous kind of editing. And the sentence was, I don't know, I remember one word. I am looking forward to meeting with you, and it will be sweetly challenging to interact with you and share our spiritual understanding. Now, sweetly challenging. It was not my word, sweetly. And she created such a twist by adding that word to challenging that I was very thrilled. So she gifted like we all are gifted. So that like today, I heard her God knows how many times. I was never impressed so much the way I was impressed today. The reason for me is the same energy, same God, same goddess lives through all of us, or has become all of us. Nobody can say that God or goddess will always shine through me, the very best, the very radiant, or the most radiant. Like sun moved in 4 directions, or how sun moved like that, her grace or his grace moves around. So I felt like Vera had that focus and that connection. And what you shared, Carole shared, was also beyond my expectation. Here is 85 years old and she's flying like my guru, more than my guru. I don't remember if my guru was as physically healthy, or maybe he was. My memory is not so good now. So very good. And I found her that she has her own personality, like I am very, very stubborn. She also seemed to be quite matching with that. So I like that also, because I have very contradictory personality. So in the end I would say that as spiritual seekers, or even without being so-called spiritual seekers, the real problem in life is contradiction. I believe all of us have contradictory desires. And then because of that, we have contradictory actions. Sometimes we are fasting to reduce weight. Sometimes we are eating and eating without caring for health and all that. So it goes like that. We can not explain why we go this and that. That is why in Indian philosophy there are 3 words: gunas, sattva-guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. When Sattva-guna is dominant in any one of us, we are very sweet, very calm, very peaceful, very transcendental. When Rajoguna is dominant, we are aggressive, we are challenging, we are trying to prove I am something. And when Tamoguna is dominant, we just want to eat and sleep, or be sluggish in whatever way, not caring about self-improvement or trying to impress others. So these gunas keep on changing, our Indian philosophy teaches. Especially, I was very, very moved when I read these words by Krishna. The Sanskrit couplet is Prakritehe kriyamanani Gunai karmani sarvashah ahankar vimudhatma karta hamiti mannati. The meaning of this couplet is all actions performed by all beings are really performed because of these gunas, changing gunas, shifting gunas, rotating gunas. But people, those who do not know this fact, think and believe he or she or they are the doers, responsible for those actions and for whatever happens to them. Because I had a very contradictory personality, filled with contradictory desires, and still I have. Somehow these words comforted me deeply. And I have seen that contradiction in Elyse also, that how she was totally convinced she is a non-doer to my understanding, and now for some time in the past she became convinced I did wrong, I made a mistake, and he or she also made a blunder, he or she should not have done that. Even if I try to tell her, did you really do anything? Can you really do anything? Did he or she really do anything? She holds back, but still she is, I don't know the right word, filled with that energy and that darkness and that confusion or that ignorance or that hopelessness that is faced by every doer. No matter how we do what we do, we take either credit or blame. There is nothing we can do that we cannot take credit and blame. So it is only those people who somehow happen to know it is all God's will. It is all done by all the gunas. Then they hold back and they see the drama around their body and through their own body. I mean, they laugh at themselves and they would laugh at anyone. So I am very, very, in a sense, now home to be thankful. I can be only thankful to Vera because she was instrumental to bring you. And that we could all share our conviction. It is not that by sharing conviction we teach others. By sharing conviction we become more solidified, more integrated, more sure, more clear, more confident about our own conviction. These convictions have got to be nurtured again and again and again and again. In our Hindu scriptures we are taught the real conviction, solid conviction, transforming conviction does not happen in one lifetime. It takes many, many lifetimes. Although what I have heard in Christian context, they believe in one life, so it is in this very life, whatever happens, happens. I would not go into detail, but I do believe this way, that such religions which teach Islam is only the religion, or Christianity is the only religion, or Judaism is the only religion, there is something profound also, wonderful about such claims. Because in the beginning stage, we have to be firmly dedicated, firmly committed, and in a very, very strict way, so that we grow into higher kind of understanding and wisdom. Ramakrishna Paramahansa, a great mystic, used to say, when you want to plant a plant and you put seed in the ground, when it starts growing up, you don't let it be by itself. You put a fencing so that the growing plant is protected. So we all need that protection. So in all religions there are many, many these rituals and disciplines and do's and don'ts. They are only fencing. And when that plant of devotion, or that plant of wisdom, or that tree of devotion, wisdom becomes sturdy, then according to Ramakrishna Paramahansa's beautiful practical example, even an elephant can be tied with the same tree, that when it was a small plant, even a goat could harm it and destroy it. So our process is like that. That is why in our Hindu religion, we are not orthodox in one way. It says according to Krishna, Swadharme nidhanam sreya paradharmo bhayavaha. It is better to die in one's own religion. Religion here means one's duty, one's own calling, one's own knowing, one's own clarity. And there are many, many such sects in India within Hindu religion, where teachers say, don't say any other name like Krishna or Rama, only say Shiva, Shiva, Shiva. And some will say only Durga, Durga, Durga. So they are so orthodox, they prevented their disciples and students from repeating names of other deities. So that orthodoxy is also many times very important in our growth process. And then in the end I will say, no matter who the person is, I have never met so-called Nobel Prize winners, but in my understanding, no Nobel Prize winner, no scientist can ever know this mystery. It is like this, no matter who is dreaming, whether I am dreaming, or Buddha is dreaming, or Krishna is dreaming, or Jesus is dreaming, or Einstein is dreaming, if within the dream we meet someone whom we consider great, wise, enlightened, and ask, what is the cause of suffering? Why someone is hurting me? Why that snake is biting someone? Why the scorpion is so dangerous? All these questions. Who created this nasty world? The wise person of the dream can only say, it is a mystery even to me, but to whatever extent I have resolved the mystery, just remember God, or watch your breath, or whatever, and then you will end up waking up. When you will wake up, you will realize, oh my God, the dreamer in the dream can never ever understand, no matter what a Nobel Prize winner he is. So we have to be ready to continue to be confused or insecure or whatever we feel. But if others have been free of this confusion, of this burden, of this ignorance, we are also going to be free of this confusion, burden and ignorance. But we need patience, we need practice, we need dedication. And with these qualities, ultimately we realize our divine essence that is ever free, it ever was free, it would continue to be free. Lord Krishna shared with Arjuna, Mayai ete nihta purvameva nimitta matram bhavasabya sachin. Arjuna was being very remorseful and emotionally overwhelmed that how could he kill his own teacher, his family members. So Lord Krishna shared, you talk like a wise man, as if your duty, you say your duty is to be kind and loving to everyone. You don't know, see this cosmic vision. And in that cosmic vision, Krishna revealed to him, all those people have been already killed and slain by Krishna. These are all killed and finished, destroyed by me. You have only to be an excuse. So we all are excuses. No matter what we are doing, accomplishing, or no matter where we are failing. Whatever is going to happen, supposed to happen, will happen. God, as God was perfect in that time, in Krishna and Buddha and Jesus, the same God is perfect and now at our time, as He shone through other great beings, same God is shining through all of us. It is our own openness, how much light, how many rays, how much radiance we catch of the same sun. So we have to keep on just opening our heart to whatever extent we think we can open, to whatever extent we think we can serve someone in the name of God, to whatever extent we believe we can forgive others in the name of God. The more we serve, the more we forgive, the more we meditate, the more we become, oh my God, I am nothing else but God Himself, God herself, or whatever. I am just a representation of the same Divine Spirit. So thank you, all of you, to make me go through all this, and let us hope to meet again and again. May God bless you, bless me, bless all of us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Beautiful, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Vera, for making this evening. Otherwise,
Spiritual, let it come.
eh?
The spirit, she woke up with the message.
Oh yes, yes. So now bring more. Take some more cookies, as many as you want. There is some prasad also. Give little bit if they want. Almond, 2 almonds and raisin I offer to Durga. There is a temple. Vera also means Durga in Hindu religion. It is a goddess name.
Ah.
Durga. It is a real goddess, ultimate goddess, consort of Shiva.
She's amazing.
And she had that tendencies or characteristics also. Durga was very, nobody can goof around. She could kill and finish anyone. So she had some personality also like that.
I love these cookies. Thank you.
Want some raisins?